Janelle said, I'm a representative tonight of a group of people that over the last 3 years have become family through the work of wanting something better and being willing to do something different. And we actually 2 years ago renamed ourselves and claimed the name Soil Generation through a cooperative process, through a consensus building process. So the name even speaks to that every step of the way we are acknowledging that we do nothing on our own, and that as individuals we have an experience that matters, and we know the value of the critical mass built when we share and hold space for everyone at once. My background in cooperatives probably started in my youth. My parents are from, respectively, my mother Trinidad and my father from Guyana, and so my brothers and I were born in London, and it took family sponsoring us as immigrants to be able to even come here. My grandmother was an indentured servant in West Virginia, and that family she worked for sponsored her children one by one to come from Trinidad to this country. And I remember as I was growing up that something called the susu was very important. And any show of hands who's familiar with that term, susu? So the susu is this mechanism by which people pay in to a kitty. And every month or year, the group determines the cycle. One person gets that collection. And I remember that my mother got susu when it was time for me to go to college, and it helped a lot because I was really bougie and wanted to go to school in New York. And so it offset some of the costs, and that was one of my first experiences. The next pivotal moment for me in my co-op experience is that I kind of came of age and started my family with my first child in Brooklyn, New York, and so I was a member of the Park Slope Food Co-op. And I was a member before it grew into what it is now, and was able to work in the office, and was a part of governance, and was a part of managing the really crazy index card systems that then grew into digital, data management, which God bless whoever did that. I got out of New York before that happened. But that was my second really important experience with cooperatives. And at the same time, I was making different choices for my reproductive health, and I gave birth to my son at home and decided to homeschool. And in caring for him, myself and a number of mothers were also making a decision to do cooperative childcare so that we could keep our children safe and so that we could support our families in a city that was bleeding us dry, and we just couldn't afford the quality care that we knew we deserved. And then the circles that I was in was absolutely social justice circles, and we were recognizing and connecting with struggles across the country and then internationally, and using a lot of best practices from other communities to generate ideas and inspire ideas among ourselves. I wanted to share some of my learning from that perspective before I brought it back to what we're doing locally. And it was just a fact that I really, it reaffirmed for me our local work. In 1976 in Tanzania and South Africa, there was research published that was backed by the United Nations that cooperative agroecology business was in fact a solution to reducing poverty, and it was a real viable option for use not just in East Africa but around the world. And so I say that saying something about the international stage is so important because there are large organizations that know the truth about the impact that this work can have. The problem is that these large organizations cannot hold the individual practice, and they cannot hold us accountable, aside from when things dismantle, saying, well, the people didn't do the work. And so it's really important that we're all here tonight, and I'm really proud of everyone that took their time out this evening, and I just want to say that and acknowledge you. And I invite you to continue acknowledging yourself, because this is not just coming out for a movie screening. This is coming out to invest in a new way of thinking in a society that doesn't encourage it necessarily. And it's a new old way of thinking, definitely. Thank you, Jamila, for sure. So on a local level, really getting inspiration from other places, and as this movie, which I just loved and again affirmed and inspired me, looking at case studies from around the country is really important for us. And so our participation in the 2020 book club is us doing that. And it is us focusing, as Dr. Nebhart's work really profiles, that studying together is the way that you grow together, because we have to be able to synthesize ideas, and we have to have some of the same information to be able to process and come up with systems and practices that are good for everyone. Soil Generations momentum actually really picked up this past summer as we prepared for the September hearings around urban ag. And September 21st, we celebrated what we really feel is a great victory, where we organized a great amount of people to show up and testify around urban agriculture and the various ways that it is absolutely necessary. It's not a luxury, it's not a maybe. Possibly, it's a definite requirement for placemaking in this country for major cities, and that us making demands is now being acknowledged, and we are really embracing that making demands is a rightful practice, and it's a mandatory practice for us. And so we showed up with our demands and are getting great feedback and being invited to many conversations that we kind of were just hearing about before as an organization, and we had other ways in, but now we're being recognized as a group that has a diverse membership that should absolutely be at the table and should in fact be the group that represents the people, because we are made up of community members. How am I doing for time? Oh, 30 seconds, great. One of my favorite lines that stood out in the film was when the woman towards the end was talking about the organization structure of the one co-op. I can't remember which location it was, but she said that we had to put certain things in place so that we could be who we say we are. And so I just want to acknowledge again that this is no small feat to show up for an evening event, and that Soil Generation and our members are standing with you as we are who we say we are.